Already thinking about warm weather, golf under sunny skies, and springtime baseball? Then now's the time to think about a Seattle Mariners spring training tour. Spend 3, 5, or 7 nights in sunny Arizona and enjoy benefits only available with official Mariners spring training tours, including dinner and chalk talk with manager Lou Piniella. Book your tour now with a no-risk guarantee. Call 1-800-8-WARM-UP for spring training with the Seattle Mariners. Call now.
Eagle Hardware and Garden. More of everything.
Eagle Hardware and Garden, corporate partner of the Seattle Mariners, is proud to bring you these exciting 1995 season highlights. In a season you thought would never end, the Mariners, just like Eagle, gave you more of everything. Now, sit back, relax, and relive the magical Mariner ride.
The story of the 1995 Seattle Mariners. The optimism in spring training camp had a lot to do with the Mariners' commitment to winning in 1995. The M's re-signed some of their own free agents and also added second baseman Joey Cora, along with some much-needed depth.
Ownership has done a good job here in keeping this team together. It's a good club. It's a young veteran ball club, and it's a club that if we can just keep this darn thing healthy, we're going to be very competitive in this division, I feel.
The mood was confident. It was also quite loose. Junior lost a friendly wager to Lou during batting practice. The payoff was a steak dinner, but Junior gave the manager much more than he bargained for.
Oh, my goodness.
Ah, yes, that's a lot of steak. Luckily, Lou took it with a grain of salt.
Look at that steak. Moo!
The cow, I'm not too sure about. When it got back to baseball, Junior and the Mariners were ready to set sail on a 144-game schedule. Opening day was April 27th, and the M's were ready to rock and roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're back and ready to play ball. Your 1995 Seattle Mariners.
Yes, the boys were back in town and mighty glad to be there. It was a hot time in Seattle as the Mariners were raring to mow down Detroit. And flamethrower Randy Johnson fired away.
And here's the pitch. Swing at him is strike three. Struck him out to retire the side.
The best pitcher in the majors did his thing, while the best player rocked the place.
Belted! Deep to right field, upper deck pass! Fly away! Off the facade on the upper deck. Ken Griffey Jr. Who else? Well, it must be showtime. It must be opening night. And that's what 35,000 fans paid to see.
And then reliever Bobby Ayala hoped to ensure that they also would see a win. The crowd rose to their feet as the M's gunned for a shutout.
Swung on, ground ball, slowly to Hopper. Fermin on the run, throws him out. And the Mariners, for the first time in 19 openers, throw a shutout. And the Mariners are off on the right foot. Yes, indeed.
Seattle shot out of the gate like a rocket and gave the league an early season shakeup. A big reason for that fast start was the red-hot hitting of Tino and Edgar.
We a lot alike in what we do, and it's funny that we have the same last name because I feel like we are alike in our work habits. Even for practice, we make sure that we are ready, and that is something that is so strange. Every time I do things the way I do, it kind of blows me away.
I credit my success to Edgar. Edgar has been on base for me all season long with his doubles.
Swung on, line drive, base hit, left field. Edgar Martinez come through.
And then Jay swinging the bat well behind me. They couldn't pitch around me, so I definitely got a lot of good pitches to hit.
Fastball belted and make it 8-5. Tino sends that one into the upper tank.
Last couple of years, I got off to slow starts in April and May, and my average just never showed. I got hot in the second half. But this year, I knew that if I could just get off to a good start, that I could put up some big numbers and do what I was capable of doing. And knowing what I'm capable of doing, I knew what I could do on the inside. It just wasn't coming out early in the season. And once I got off to a good start this year, I knew that I was going to put up some big numbers.
Tino came to spring training in good shape. He came in about 10 pounds lighter than he normally does. And because of it, I think he was able to get off to a good start.
In his first 15 games, Tino batted .370, showing remarkable consistency. It would be a breakthrough year for the Mariners' first baseman. Nearly a month into the season, both players had virtually identical red-hot numbers. Edgar went on to win his second batting title, hitting .356.
I think the high average, you have to maintain the consistency, and I'm not going to say that I'm going to be able to do this kind of year all the time, but you have to get hot at the first month of the season and maintain that consistency all year. It's nice to get the recognition, and it's nice to see people and hear people talking about you. It's nice compliments, but I get more satisfaction out of doing my job on the field, and that's what I'm trying to focus on, just be satisfied with what I do.
Stretch on the pitch to Martinez, runner goes, swing and a drive deep to right field, way back, going, goodbye baseball!
Edgar belted 29 home runs and knocked in 113. Muchísimo caliente is the only way to describe the big-time production from both players.
It's very satisfying, not just proving to everybody that I can play, but knowing what I can do and going out and doing it. Finally feeling like I know what I'm capable of doing, but I've never done it. And this year, by doing it, it just gave me a lot of confidence and a lot of satisfaction from all the hard work I put in.
Tino and Edgar spearheaded the M's to an early season 3-game sweep in Texas that tied the club's best start ever at 6-1. The Mariners remained in first place for much of the first month of the season as they looked to be living up to their potential. After knocking off California, the front-running Mariners sent the message that they were clearly a force to be reckoned with. But while all was well with Tino and Edgar, soon came a fateful moment and one frightening day in Mariner history.
Swing, and it's a fly ball, right center field and deep. On the run, Diaz and Griffey. Griffey up against the wall, jumps up, and he makes the catch and crashes into the fence. Griffey just stayed on the warning track and he hurt himself. Griffey dove into that fence. Alex Diaz showed everybody that he made the grab, but Griffey really hurt his left hand or his left wrist. An incredible catch by Ken Griffey Jr.
I didn't think there was any way in the world anybody could get to that ball. Let's just hope that Junior has not hurt that left wrist badly. I don't like the look on his face.
Junior had fractured both bones in his wrist, an injury that left him sidelined for 2.5 months. It was a frustrating setback, but fiery skipper Lou Piniella inspired his players to take heart.
Well, it was a devastating blow. Anytime you lose a player of that magnitude, you're not going to replace him. But at the same time, a lot of other people stepped up. Junior's not here, we've got to do more. And more they did.
When Junior went down, there was two things that could have happened, and I think a lot of people knew that. One, this team could probably fold and lose a lot of games until Junior did come back. Or two, players could believe in themselves and we'd have to try and get by with what we had. Alex Diaz stepped in and played center field the majority of the time, did an outstanding job. Defensively made some Junior-like catches. So without a doubt, the season for the Mariners started when Junior got hurt. Everybody else picked it up, and I really think that the team became much closer by picking one another up after the absence of Junior.
Nobody got too big of an ego and tried to do too much. Everybody just did their little part. And certain guys were hot, and they stayed hot, and everybody else was just feeding off that.
Playing a line drive base hit into left field for Mike Blowers. Here comes Alex Diaz on to score. Outstanding at bat for Mike Blowers.
As players stepped up, the M's remained very competitive. For the next month, they hung on and stayed within 5 games of first, using 24 different starting lineups in 27 games. Richie Amaral, for instance, made some key contributions.
Played a little different style of game. We didn't play for the home run ball as prevalent. We inserted some speed into the lineup and ran and hit and ran. We even squeezed a few times. And we just changed our game plan a little bit.
Take, for instance, this June game with the Mariners at bat and the winning run on third.
It's on the way to Cruder, squeezes on, it's down, but it's not going to be good, or is it? Yes, it is! And sliding around the tag is Rich Amaral. My, oh my! The Mariners win it 2-1. And Mandrake, the magician, Lou Piniella, fools everybody here.
In addition to Pinella's guts and guile, another constant was the utter dominance of Randy Johnson, who began the season 6-0 and never looked back.
Strike three, goal! And Randy looks to the top of the dome and says, "What a game I have pitched, and indeed you have, Big Unit."
And then Randy Johnson. Well, what can you say about him?
The confidence level going into his games are so high. We know we're going to win.
He has been the leading strikeout leader for the last 3 years in the American League. He is awesome.
We have few tough games. He step up and give us a win, and that's been big for us.
Well, Johnson, fast, and incredibly fast, 98 miles an hour.
You know, most guys that throw that hard don't have the ability to locate like Randy does, and it's amazing what he does.
Johnson off to a great start. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Randy Johnson strikes out a couple.
I'm going out there with the intent and the purpose primarily of keeping my team in the game, and whether I get the win or not, it's not really important. It's to keep my team in the game and give our team a chance to win.
Strike 3 call, and he does it. He has a magnificent 5-inch shutout, and Randy goes to 6, and oh my, what a game for the Big Unit tonight.
It's obviously a great feeling when you're a pitcher out there and the fans are on their feet and they're cheering for you, and you know, I think sometimes it allows you to do something that you may not normally be able to do.
Randy into his wind in the 0-2 pitch, and it's strike 3, goal! Another slider, and Randy looks to the top of the dome as Randy strikes out 5 of the last 6 Angels, and Randy waving to the crowd in one of his most magnificent moments here in Seattle.
The longer we keep a team in the game when he's out there, the a little bit more confident they get. But as soon as we get him 2 or 3 runs, you know, we know the ball game's pretty much over.
Ground ball hit to the shortstop Soho. He'll underhand, and the ball game is over as Cora gets it. And Randy Johnson has gone all the way again. Randy goes to 9-1 on the year.
I manage real good when Randy pitches. Randy's had a spectacular season. He's been a pitcher. He's been a dominating pitcher. He's been a winner. He's been the leader of our staff. He's carried us on his big shoulders all year, and every time we've needed big games, he's repeated them. And, you know, how much better can this young man get? I don't think he needs to get any better. I think he just needs to maintain. He's at the top of his game.
In July, Johnson took his high-velocity fastball to the All-Star game as 4 Mariners made the trip to Texas. The national spotlight fell on the beautiful ballpark at Arlington. It was a proud moment indeed, since it marked the first time ever that 4 Mariners had made the team. Edgar was the American League starting DH.
Designated hitter, Edgar Martinez.
Tino made the squad, and though injured, Junior was voted on the team for the 6th consecutive time.
Griffey Jr.
Randy was the American League starter. The big unit pitched 2 innings, striking out 3 National Leaguers, including Fred McGriff and Barry Bonds. After the All-Star game, some 4-star glove work set the tone for a strong second half. Now, the M's weren't known as a great fielding team, but my, oh my, that Mariner D came up big all season long.
Got him. Little blooper, gonna drop into left center field. No, great catch by Murphy.
Ground ball wide of first, backhanded by Tino, goes to the bag, dives, and he gets there before the dive by Gates. Soho, will he get there? Yes, he will. Here's a swing and a fly ball, right field, sinking fast. Bragg comes in, dives, and he makes the catch.
An amazing catch!
Vermeen to his left, dives, knocks it down, backhands to Soho for 1. Relay to first in time, double play!
Alex Diaz! My, oh my!
Diving stop the second baseman. Vermeen fires the first in time. Swinging a fly ball into shallow center on the run. Diaz dives, and he makes the catch! Throw back to first base, they've got a shot! Double play! Ground ball up the middle. Rodriguez gloves it in behind second. Wheels and fires. They got him. What a play! We have it. He jumped into the crowd, and he makes the incredible catch.
Bouncing ball, Cora. Diving stop. Flip to second. Got him there. Joey Cora, another bit of prestidigitation at second base.
Fly ball into the deep right center field and flying over Diaz, and Alex makes an unbelievable catch! Number down the third baseline, backhanded by Buzz. He goes to strings and throw to first in time. What a play! I don't know if I've ever seen a 1-5-3 put out, Ronnie. I haven't either. Whoa!
After the All-Star break, the M's hung tough for a while, but it wasn't long before a losing streak took its toll. Lou had nowhere to turn as the frustration set in. The California Angels began to pull away, and the M's dropped way back. A look at the standings showed that the M's had fallen behind by a whopping 13 games. But the Mariners were still very much in contention because of the wild card. But American League Manager of the Year Lou Piniella had his sights set much higher. After all, Lou had been in a similar situation as a player.
We talked about that. I told him I played on a Yankee team that had caught Boston after being 14.5 out at the All-Star break. But you know, where we were more fortunate this year was the fact that there was a wild card berth. And because of the wild card, we were always competitive for postseason play. We were never more than 2 or 3 games out. We were never more than a game or 2 ahead. Because of that, ownership went out and let Mr. Woodward, our general manager, Woody, pick up a starting pitcher in Venice.
Now Andy Venice is lined in the 0-2 pitch on the way. Hard 3 call right on the inside corner, and that will be that.
Pick up a Coleman.
Coleman goes, the pitch is outside, no throw, and he's in scoring position. Coleman had a great jump.
We were fortunate already earlier in the summer to pick up a Belcher in a trade.
The pitch. Swing and a miss, and striking out the side here in the 8th inning is Tim Belcher, and he has 7.
What a job by the veteran right-hander.
At the same time, Charlton comes over from Philadelphia. So the pieces were in place.
Oh, he turned that one over. Good pitch. Wow.
Norm's a very competitive guy, and I knew he could help us. But we never thought that he would end up being a closer of the magnitude he's been. And not that he doesn't have the ability, it's just that he didn't have that opportunity in Philadelphia. Usually it takes a little more time to build into that. And all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky, when we really need another pitcher, up pops Walcott from the minor leagues. And now we got a ball club that's ready to go do some battle.
And at the tender age of 21, Bob Wolcott made sudden impact.
And the pitch to O'Leary. Strike three called. Fastball on the inside corner, one away. Bob Wolcott with his first Major League strikeout.
Wolcott debuted on August the 18th against the Eastern Division leading Boston Red Sox. And man, oh man, the youngster made quite an impression.
Let's go. Got him. That looked like a splitter that time. Well, the bottom fell out of it. If it wasn't a splitter, it was the darndest sinker I've ever seen. So he strikes out Vaughn. That shows some metal to me.
And some other heavy metal came from Mike Blowers in that same game. Blowers stepped to the plate with the bases jammed.
The pitch on the way, swing and a drive, deep to right center field. One more time, yes! Goodbye, baseball! A grand slam home run. Mike Blowers, his third of the season. He is unbelievable.
Mike tied the big league mark with 3 salamis for the month, and he wasn't even through for the night.
The pitch, swing and a fly ball deep to right center field. Same spot. One more time, yes! He does it again! This time a 3-run home run. Mike Blowers with his second home run of the ball game. 7 RBIs for Mike Blowers. The crowd still on their feet here at the Kingdom. The fans are shouting, Blowers, Blowers, Blowers.
There was much reason for optimism in the middle of August because the kid was back. Junior hit safely in 6 of his first 7 games, and Seattle's spirits soared. What a happy return to the Kingdom. And during those first few games back against the Red Sox and the Orioles, he showed no fear. Junior's instant return to greatness had everyone in awe.
Griffey going back the track, the wall, leaps up and he makes the catch. Holy smoke, the kid is back.
Junior is over. He runs it down.
Ken Griffey Jr. just flat out outraced the baseball.
Junior going over, reaches down, sideline, hits and makes an amazing catch. So that's 4 great catches for Junior in the last 2 games.
The wind and the pitch.
Swung on in, belted right down the right field line, and that will hit the foul ball fly away. Ken Griffey Jr. has hit his first home run since May the 26th, the night he got hurt. And it is 5-2, and the fans have been waiting for that. So Junior making the tour, and does it look great.
The 2-0 pitch to Junior.
Swung on and drilled deep to left center field. Mark Smith to the track, to the wall, fly away. Junior has hit his second home run in as many games. Ah, yes, Junior is back, and it is 6-0.
There's no doubt Junior is the type of player, if there's anybody that can carry somebody, Junior's the type of guy that can. I mean, when Junior gets hot, he's unbelievably hot. I mean, I think that showed in the Yankee series.
Pitch swung on and Nelson, deep to right field. The Mariners have done it. Fly away. Junior with a 2-run home run. The Mariners win it 9-7.
It was a miracle 2-out 9th-inning homer that beat the Yankees in their series opener. The Mariners really took it to New York in a tough 4-game set. In Game 2 of the series, Edgar drove in 4 runs with 2 dingers.
And see you later. A 3-run homer. Edgar Martinez with his second home run of the game. And it is 7-2 Mariners.
The stretch and the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3 on the splitter, and it's over. The Mariners win it tonight. A final score of 7-4 over the Yankees to hand the Yankees their 7th consecutive loss.
Randy Johnson held New York at bay in the 3rd game of the series with a little help from Junior. It was an important win since New York was battling the M's for the wild card.
The 1-1 pitch on the way to Davis. Swung on. Fly ball hit into left center field. Junior is there. Randy has got the shutout. And the Mariners won the first 3 games of this series. The 4-game series against the Yankees.
Now the wild card standings showed the M's in solid contention. As the pennant picture heated up, so did this man, a real fan favorite, Jay Buhner. He's sometimes grungy, and his teammates call him Bone. In '95, Bone came into his own.
I think you mature as a ball player, you get to know your swing a little bit more, and I just had that feeling this year, a little bit longer this year. I just started to figure out certain things, and when I got my pitches in a certain zone, I wasn't missing them.
You gotta love Buhner's bat, and you also gotta love his style. There were free haircuts for all, including Jay's son Chase on the 2nd annual Buhner Buzz Cut Night.
His throng of fans out there in right field on their feet, giving Jay a standing ovation. Those who are bald, those who are now bald after being shaved.
Everybody loved watching Jay play, cause Buhner delivered a lot of nasty cuts with the bat during September.
Jay Buhner, a bomb way out of here.
The red-hot Buhner was convinced that the M's were the best club in the American League West.
I think a lot of people were counting us out for winning our division. I took offense to that, very much so. I mean, that PO'd me a lot. A lot of people already counting us out and saying, okay, let's win the wild card. People were starting to be a little pessimistic and didn't think that we had a chance. I mean, it's never over till it's over. And especially the way California was starting to slide and the way we were playing, we were on a roll. Well, anything was possible. And I just didn't want people to get complacent and start thinking about the wild card and not really thinking about what we were trying to do and what we were trying to accomplish, and that's win. It's all about winning. It's not about, finishing second, being second best.
Buhner to try and get it off in a couple of hops. Brady Anderson on his way for 2. The throw to second base, and he is getting beat. He is out of there.
Yes, indeed, Jay did it all in his finest major league season.
Buhner swung on and belted deep to left center field, and get out the ride, Brett Grandma, because here comes a grand salami.
Edgar and Tino were hot, May, June, July, and then Blow was hot in August, and I got hot in September. And you get into a winning streak like we were on in the month of September. We were hot, and it carried over, and you just ride on all that adrenaline and that emotional high.
Buhner finished the year with 40 home runs and a club record 121 RBIs. He also set a club mark for home runs in September with 13. Refused to lose was Jay's middle name. During the M's incredible September stretch, they won 17 of their last 22, and Jay delivered lots of punch. The Big Four was ready to make its big push for a division title as the M's returned from a September road trip.
We came back from the East Coast trip 5-5, and I told the ball club basically, look, we've got 14 of our next 17 games at home. If we're going to do something, now's the time to really put it together. And these kids, boy, did they respond, and did they play good baseball and exciting baseball. It turned on the city of Seattle.
The Mariners pull into a tie for the top spot in the wild card race with Kansas City.
I knew if we got on a winning streak and continued to play consistent baseball that we had a chance of catching California. And there's nothing better than having a banner hanging up in your outfield that says division champs.
The Mariners have swept the Kansas City Royals in this 3-game series. They are off and running, and the race is on. Yes, indeed. My, oh, my.
I don't think we ever gave up hope that we could win the division. Even when we were 13 games out, we still had aspirations of winning the division, although it's not one of the things you say in the paper.
The windup, the 0-2, strike 3, and it's over. Thorne Charlton strikes out the side, and the Mariners are back on top in the wild card race.
California started losing, and we started catching them, and then we shifted our goals to, hey, let's just catch California. If we catch California, we can get in there anyway. So we started doing that, and we got really hot and played real well to the end.
Juan pitch on the way. Strike! 3 down. Enjoy it, Seattle. Yes, indeed. Everybody exploding with their lungs here as the leadoff whoop trickle by Nicky Tilden goes for naught.
I think at that point there was a lot of people thinking, hey, we can win the AL West. And with that determination and the makeup and the lineup that we have of this team, we were able to do that.
Here comes the delivery on the way to Doug, and it's swung on and melted deep to right field, and it will fly away. And we are tied at 4-4. I don't believe it. My, oh my.
Doug Strange's pinch hit 2-run homer tied Texas in the 9th, and then in the 11th, Junior came through.
Lined off the glove of the third baseman Ortiz. Here comes Strange. The Mariners win it 5-4. My. The Mariners are 1 game back of the California Angels. Comes the wind and the 0-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and a fly ball hit deep into left center field. And Junior's going to go back to the track, to the wall, make the leap, and make the catch.
The Mariners were on their way to sweeping the Rangers.
Swing and a miss, and the sweep is complete. And the Mariners are flying very high, my friends. They have won 7 of their last 8, 10 of their last 12, and they have caught the California Angels dead even in the American League West chase.
The excitement was building to a fever pitch. Now with only 9 games remaining in the regular season, playing at home became such a big inspiration for the ball club. Seattle was rocking like never before.
The most important aspect of playing at home is the 10th fan, or the 10th man, and that's the fans. The more they're into the ball game, the more they come out at numbers, the better the team plays.
Yeah, it's exciting. You play exciting baseball, and this has been a lot of fun. I think the fans are really digging it as much as we are.
A lot of fun around here. It's getting exciting, and we're just really pleased with the way the fans have come out and supported, especially over the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been outstanding.
You know, when you gain that kind of electricity once you walk into the stadium, it motivates the player. And
the other teams are getting a little intimidated, and you can see it because the crowd is so loud.
51,000 plus going crazy. What a magical night here in the Kingdom.
With the M's tied for first, the fans came out in full force as Seattle hosted the Oakland A's for 3. The Mariners had trailed 6-0 in this series opener, but destiny beckoned in the 4th with the bases full for Vince Coleman.
Coleman hits a fly ball deep to right field, and that's going to fly! A grand slam home run for Vince Coleman! My, oh my! We are even at 6!
It was Coleman's first career grand slam and what amounted to the biggest Mariner comeback of the year. In the 8th, with 2 on, the Mariners sent up pinch hitter Alex Diaz.
Alex belts the ball deep to left field, and that will fly away! My, oh my! I don't believe it! And the magic is in Seattle on this 22nd day of September.
My, oh my, what a comeback. All that remained was for Charlton to put the finishing touches on the A's.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a high chopper to short. Vermeer's got it. Toss across. It's over. The Mariners win it. A comeback 10-7 win over the Oakland Athletics tonight. And they take over first place by themselves in the American League West in this amazing comeback in the 1995 season. Holy smoke, what a game tonight.
In the series finale against the Oakland Athletics, Tino Martinez stepped to the plate with 1 on and 1 out against Dennis Eckersley as the Mariners trailed 8-7.
Here comes the pitch to Tino. Swung on and belted deep to right field. And that will be flying away. And the Mariners win it 9-8 in perhaps the most incredible game in their history. And 46,000 fans are losing their minds here in Seattle. Tonight, I'll guarantee you, it will be sleepless in Seattle for everybody who is here today, including me.
The clutch win was the 16th game of the year in which the Mariners had won in their final at-bat. More importantly, it gave the M's a 3-game sweep of Oakland. Unfortunately, California also won that night, but the M's maintained a 2-game lead. After an off day, the Mariners braced themselves to face their arch enemy, the California Angels. A hot ticket as California came into town for 2 games trailing by 2. The M's overpowered them in the opener.
And the 1-0 pitch on the way to Junior, swung on and drilled deep into right center field, going back Edmonds to the truck. The wall, fly away. Junior has done it one more time. Unbelievable. My, oh my. It is 5-0 Seattle. The 2-2 pitch on the way now to swing and a miss, and it's over. And the Seattle Mariners have won every game on this homestand. They are 7-0.
What a roll. A 10-2 victory over California, and that northwest wind was billowing beneath the Mariners' sail. The romp over California gave the M's a 3-game lead with only 5 more to play. One more win against California in the last regular season home game would clinch at least a tie for the division title. But it just wasn't to be.
And the ball game is over. The Angels shut out the Mariners tonight, a final score of 2-0. But a sellout crowd still gives the Mariners a standing ovation. The California Angels still have a flicker of hope. They win tonight by a score of 2-0 to come away with a split in this 2-game series. For the Mariners, they're back to a 2-game lead over California in the American League West, and that magic number still remains at 3.
Then it was on to Texas for the final 4 games of the regular season. Each glance at the scoreboard showed the Angels leading Oakland. There was a lot of pressure on the Mariners and a lot of nail-biting. But the boys came through with a big win to reduce their magic number to 2. The key blow in the opener came with the bases loaded.
There's a pitch on the way to Ken Griffey Jr., and it's swung on and belted deep to right field. Get out to right, Brett Grandma. It is grand salami time. I don't believe it. My, oh my, what a shot by Junior, and he has never hit a bigger one.
The next day, Lou's crew came up with their 43rd come-from-behind victory of the year, defeating Texas 4-3. California also won, but the good news was the Mariners' victory reduced their magic number to 1. Some Mariner fans made the long trip to Texas hoping to see the clincher and an end of 19 years of frustration. Yet the Rangers won 9-2 on the next to last day, thanks to 2 homers from Mickey Tettleton. California also won, cutting the Mariners' lead to a precious 1 game. Then on the last day of the season, the Mariners lost again. It seemed like a crushing blow. The Rangers bowled over the Mariners 9-3. California won their final game, and the regular season race ended in a dead heat between the Angels and the Mariners. The entire season would all boil down to one pressure-packed game at the Kingdome. My, oh my. So it all came down to this, one game. The fans flocked out to the Kingdome as 50,000 tickets were sold within a matter of hours. And man alive, the fans were ready to give their beloved ball club all the support they could muster.
Yeah, go Mariners!
Mariners going to take it. No doubt about it. They're at home, the crowd, they're just going to kick butt.
This is a pre-victory cigar.
And what are you doing with the other
This is the real victory cigar.
Big unit! Big unit! Big unit!
It's the 7th game of a 144-game series. Playoff time is at stake as Tony Phillips steps in, and the wind in the first pitch swung on and popped down the right field line. Foul territory. Tino a long run. Reaches down. First play. Amazing catch by Tino Martinez. Through 5 2/3 innings, Johnson was perfect. Seattle led 1-0 as the teams headed into the bottom of the 7th. If the Mariners could somehow hold on, they'd be champs of the West. The tension was almost unbearable. 7th inning. Bases full, 2 outs as Mark Langston delivered to Luis Sojo.
Here's the pitch, swinging a ground ball up the first base line, and it sneaks down by Snow! Down the right field line into the bullpen. Here comes Flowers. Here comes Tino. Here comes Joey. The front of the plate cut off. The relay by Langston. Gets out by Allenson. Flores scores. Here comes Sojo. He scores! Everybody scores! And the Mariners take the lead 5-0. This place is going wild.
Watch it again, Mariner fans, because it was the play that broke the Angels' back. Former Mariner Mark Langston, the man who was traded for Randy Johnson, came up on the short end of the stick. The Kingdome went wild. And then it came down to the final out. Now the left-hander ready. Branding iron hot. The 1-2 pitch. Kay inserted. It's over right over the heart of the plate. Randy looks to the skies. That is covered by the dome and bedlam as the Mariners now erupt. Everybody charging Randy Johnson out there, and the fans coming out on the field. 19 long years of frustration is over. But my friends, this is just indescribable. You think the Mariners have won the World Series. They haven't, but maybe they will. At least they are on the path. What a celebration, the first championship celebration in their history, and the Mariners were able to clinch it at home after all.
This is what we wanted to win in the first place, and we finally got a chance to do it, and I'm glad we did it here.
No doubt about it. This crowd, they've been supported all year long, and I think it's a good feeling for them to win in our house.
When we were 17 out and then 13 out, and I told you guys that, hey, this team still had a chance of really doing something. Look where we're at, man. Look where we're at. That feels good.
I carried this cigar all through Texas and didn't get to light it. Now I finally got to light it, and I'm tickled to death for this group of players and for this region, because finally the Northwest knows what it's like to be in a pennant race.
Only hours later, the Mariners whisked to New York for the first round of the playoffs. Jet lag aside, the ball club was primed to take a bite out of the Big Apple.
All right, Junior! Go Mariners!
The main question was whether or not the Mariners could rise to the occasion with Randy Johnson not scheduled to pitch until Game 3.
We're ready to play. We got no excuses. We had to use Randy to get here in Seattle yesterday, but truthfully, outside of that, I've got all the confidence in the world that this club's going to play well.
In the opener of the 5-game series at Lou's old stomping grounds, the M's faced David Cone.
Here's the stretch on the pitch on the way to Junior. Swinging a drive deep to right field. Going, goodbye, baseball. There it is, Griffey with a 2-run home run. And this ball game is tied at 4.
The Yankees, however, won the opener 9-6 as Ruben Sierra keyed the victory. Junior paid Sierra and the Yankees back in Game 2 with this extra inning blast off John Wetland, and the Mariners took a 5-4 lead. The bench erupted in celebration as the M's were only 3 outs away from a victory that would even the series. But soon after, Sierra drilled one to left with 2 on, and the M's appeared doomed.
It's on the top of the wall. We've got a tie ball game. They're going to try and score Williams. Here's a relay to the plate by Soho, and it is in time.
The game continued into the wee hours. What a game and what a heated rivalry. Remember earlier in the year when Randy Johnson let loose with a high and tight one that beamed Jimmy Leyritz? The bad blood between the Mariners and Yankees was very much evident. Believe me, these clubs were not fond of each other, and the M's refused to back down. Jim Leyritz picked a bad time to seek his revenge. Leyritz connected on a 2-run blast to end the 5-hour and 13-minute marathon battle. The M's were only 1 loss away from elimination. The scene shifted back to Seattle. It would be a do-or-die Game 3.
Get your programs. First time ever postseason edition of the Mariner magazine right here.
Go Mariners! Woo!
Please refuse to lose.
The ball club had their backs to the wall yet again, but the fans had a sneaking suspicion that this baby was far from over. In a critical situation with the bases full in the 4th, the big unit reared back and fired to Don Mattingly and struck him out. Trailing 1-0 in the 5th, the Mariners finally busted loose.
And McDowell's 1-0 on the way to Tino Martinez now, and it swung on and belted. Deep to right center field. Williams to the track. The wall fly away. And the Mariners lead it 2-1. My, oh my.
With a 3-run cushion in the 9th, Norm Charlton was called in to close it out.
And it's swung on and missed, and there will be a tomorrow.
In Game 4, the Mariners fell behind after this Paul O'Neill third-inning smash made it 5-0 Yankees. It looked bleak, but in the bottom of the 3rd, all prayers were answered by Edgar, a 3-run homer that brought the M's back from the dead. Then with the score tied at 6, Joey Cora put down a bunt to move the runner over, and he beat it out. Soon after, the bases were loaded with nobody out.
You're Edgar Martinez, you're looking for a low pitch. You don't want to pop it up here, something to drive. But with 2 strikes, you've got to protect the plate. 2-2 on Edgar. And John Wetland one more time set, and here comes the 2-2 pitch to Edgar Martinez now, and the fastball swung on and hit the deep center field. Bernie Williams goes back, and it is get out the rye bread and the mustard this time, Grandma. It is a grand salami, and the Mariners lead it 10-6. I don't believe it. My, oh my. The Mariners have not only come from a 5-run deficit, they have taken a 4-run lead on Edgar Martinez's 3rd career Grand Slam home run.
I still don't believe it, but the M's pulled it out.
To deep center field, Junior to the track, he's to the wall and makes the catch, and it's over.
The crowd went into a state of delirium. What a miraculous effort in a game that could have been over by the 3rd inning. It was the kind of magic that brought these comeback kids to the playoffs to begin with. Edgar refused to let the dream die with his 7 RBIs. Once again, it all came down to a final date with destiny. The very walls of the Kingdome would tremble on this day in a final and deciding Game 5.
So once again, another do-or-die situation for the Mariners. The winner moves on to the American League Championship Series. For the play-by-play, here's Dave.
Thank you, Rick, and a very pleasant good afternoon, everybody. So this is it.
Somebody goes home, somebody plays Cleveland. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Dan Wilson on the way now from the veteran right-hander, and the fastball swing and a miss.
In a back-and-forth battle, the M's drew first blood.
Fastball swing and a fly ball deep to right field. O'Neill going back. Goodbye, baseball. Joey Cora, little Joey Cora with a solo home run to right field. Holy smoke, and the Mariners take a 1-0 lead. Some big pop from little Joey Cora.
But the lead shifted back in the fourth.
Pitch on the way to ball, swung on and belted, and it's 2-1 New York.
It was the 21st home run of the series. The clubs would combine for 22, a record by far for any postseason series in baseball history. The M's countered O'Neill's blast in the bottom half of the fourth inning. In the bottom of the fourth, all prayers were answered.
Here comes the 3-1 to Jay Buhner now, and the fastball swung on and lined into left center field for a base hit, so Tino's going to score, and we are even at 2-2.
Is this guy strong or what? Jay Buhner cracks that bat completely in half. He got that pitch right off the end of the bat, and he drills it, though, into left center field for the RBI single. Tino scores easily. Jay Buhner with a big, big RBI.
In the Yankee sixth, it was Don Mattingly who broke the deadlock with a bases-loaded double to left that drove home 2 runs, and the Yankees led 4-2. The M's failed to score in the 6th or the 7th, but in the bottom of the 8th, Hope stepped to the plate in the form of who else?
The 1-0 pitch on the way to Junior. Swung on and belted. That's going to be in the upper deck. Fly away.
It was Junior's 5th home run of the series, tying a postseason mark set by Reggie Jackson. More importantly, the homer pulled the M's to within 1 run to make it 4-3. Then with 2 outs in the 8th, the M's loaded the bases for pinch hitter Doug Strange.
This is the action pitch. It all happens here, the stretch. The Mariner runners go, the 3-2 pitch to Strange in the dirt, and we are tied. He walks Doug Strange. My, oh my.
The M's had knotted it at 4. With the divisional flag hanging in the balance in the 9th, Lupinella decided to bring in his ace, Randy Johnson, for his first relief appearance of the year. The Yankees countered with Jack McDowell. Johnson pitched valiantly, but the Yankees scored in the top of the 11th to take a 5-4 lead. Then came the bottom of the 11th and one more last chance.
No quit, no quit, no quit in this ball club all season long. Down by a run, they come back right away on back-to-back singles by Cora and by Ken Griffey Jr. The fans are alive one more time.
And here is Edgar for the 2nd time around against Jack McDowell. Lined down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my.
The club that had hung tough all season long came through in one of the most exciting postseason games ever. It was truly baseball at its very best.
It's the greatest game in the world. It's played in the field. And in this series, and then the one we were in before, you saw baseball at its best. That's what it's really all about.
Well, the M's had done it. Seattle was all abuzz as the entire area focused on the Miracle Mariners. Next, it was on to face Cleveland. The setting must have felt surreal in the opener for a kid who only a few years prior was pitching in high school. Now in only his 7th big league start, young Bob Wolcott barely survived the first inning, striking out Albert Bell with the bases loaded and nobody out. Then after getting Eddie Murray to foul out, Wolcott faced Indian slugger Jim Thome.
One hopper, great stop by Cora. From his knees, throws him out. My, oh my, a miracle in the first.
Blowers connected in the second.
Swung on and belted deep to center field. Loft into the track. The wall, fly away.
Blowers' blast gave Wolcott a 2-run cushion. But it was Luis Sojo who broke a 2-2 deadlock in the 7th with this double. And Seattle celebrated another thrilling victory as the city floated on air. In Game 2, it was Joey Cora who went airborne.
Line drive, diving catch, Joey Cora! Holy smokes!
And Junior connected.
Junior's 6th home run in postseason play.
Despite the heroics, Cleveland would win Game 2 on the strength of Oral Hershiser's pitching. In Game 3, Jay Buhner took center stage with a home run. In the 8th, this misplay led to the Indians tying the ball game. But in the 11th, oh my, sweet redemption.
And there goes the wind out of the balloon here in Cleveland.
Yet the Indians won the next two, and in Game 6 with the M's facing elimination, not even the big guy, the big unit, could change the course of events. As he left the game trailing in the 7th, the fans paid him a loving tribute. Trailing 4-0 in the bottom of the 9th, the faces told the story. The Mariners fell a miracle short, and the dream season of 1995 came to an end. Jay Buhner's ground ball just made it official. The Cleveland Indians were champions of the American League. But as the Mariners walked off the field for the final time, there remained one more sentiment to share.
Magic carpet ride is over, but my, oh my, what a ride it has been.
Dave, this is an incredible sight right now. 58,000 fans here in the Kingdom thanking the Mariners for just an incredible season from start to finish.
It was indeed. The M's had spent their very last ounce of emotion and courage. The outcry of support continued from every corner of the Kingdom as fans paid tribute to their M's.
They stuck in there 100%. I didn't see anybody leave. I mean, even the last out, they just said, okay, we're here for you guys. And you guys made it all possible. And you got to take our hats off to them. I mean, they made a difference in this town, this ball club.
There wasn't a dry eye in the place as the ovation went on and on for some 15 minutes. It was a special thanks for a ball club that had overcome so much to come so far. The players came back onto the field to acknowledge their 10th man. I've never seen anything like it. These never-say-die Mariners had captured Seattle's heart and soul by showing the courage of a lion all season long. What transpired in this incredible season of '95 will not soon be forgotten. My, oh my, how sweet it was.
Swing and a drive, deep to left field. This ball game is over. Goodbye, baseball. And the Mariners come back and beat the Yankees on Memorial Day of, would you believe it? And the 2-2 pitch, swinging a line drive, diving catch! Tino Martinez at first base. He robs Tony Phillips of a base hit, and he saves a run.
The 2-0 pitch to Jay on the way now, and it's swung on and belted deep to left center. Shot into the track, the wall. It is grand salami time. My, oh my. And the 1-0 pitch on the way to Joey. Swung on, line drive, center field base hit. Here comes Alex around third. Here's a throw to the plate by Johnson, and he is not in time.
Here's the pitch on the way. Swing and a drive. Deep to right center field. One more time. Yes! Goodbye, baseball!
The 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on the line down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. My, oh my.
The historical parallels between Babe Ruth and Ken Griffey Jr. are remarkable. Ruth was a left-hand power hitter. Griffey is a left-hand power hitter. Ruth played in New York, and Griffey has been to New York. And in the 3rd grade, Griffey had a teacher whose first name was Ruth. When the Mariners get their new ballpark, I think it'll be known as the house that Griffey built.
Fans, establish your priority for seating at the new ballpark when you purchase Mariners season tickets. Excellent season ticket locations still remain, but all seats will be sold on a first-come, first-served basis. In addition to priority at the new ballpark, season ticket holders receive additional benefits, including top priority seating for all Mariners playoff games at the Kingdome. Be a part of the excitement in 1996 as the Mariners defend their American League West title by calling the Mariners season ticket hotline at 206-628-9400. That's 206-628-9400.